What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Man, there's already people partying in the chat room. Let's
Hey,
go.
they going
Hey, we
crazy
got
over there.
Robert. Hey, he's 3 hours and 13 minutes. T. Carmack was probably the last guy to get a bottle of Willow seasoning.
Yep. Oh,
Oh, hey, who's this guy? This guy tried to beat him real
yeah. I
quick.
tried to beat Robert. I want to meet some willows.
Right? Massel, what's up? Hey, Ryan from Higher Grilling. Hey, there they are themselves, Willow. Oh, there he is. T.
There
Carmack, you
he
need to
is.
find me. Send me a message of where I can send the Willow seasonings that I owe you. Redbeard, Brad, what's up, buddy?
Oh man,
So, speaking of, welcome to another foodie show. Damon, how the heck are you?
good man. How you doing?
Good. I got serious sinus stuff. You can probably hear it in my voice, but,
Yeah, it's going around everywhere now.
I'm the guy who gets allergies when it's wet and raining in California still. So, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. There
But, hey,
you
like we said, this show is brought to you by Willow Seasonings. I'm telling you guys, hey,
go.
that one right there, the Memphis,
Watch out for it.
you watch what that one does this year. If you see that little blue right there, Sweet Heat already won #1 at the American Royal Hot Rub category. So, yeah,
Yep.
get on it, get yourself some. Use code Johnsy 2022 or TDN 2023, willowseasonings.com, and it'll be down here in the ticker now. Oopsies.
Yeah,
But
get it before you're too late, and
it's
then you're trying to catch
yeah,
up with most of us
you
that
don't
know
want to be
about
the
it.
last one to this party, I promise, because you're gonna feel like a fool. I
Yeah.
said it. I said it. Oh, so man, super excited for the guests we have tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had him
Real.
on the show before, but I've just been a big fan for a long time. His cooking videos are, they're just they're simple to follow along with.
Yes.
He breaks it down, and the quality is just next level. We're going to get into that because we're all
That's right.
jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he is known as the Bob Ross of barbecue, cooking with rye.
I do not have an afro. Sorry.
No.
I need the Bob Ross afro to really live up to this. Yeah.
No, it's just when you watch your videos, that's like it's just the calm,
calm.
chill, yeah. The
And it's
cool,
funny because people have said that over the years a
Yeah.
lot. And I think some of them come to it without seeing someone else say it.
Mhm.
And I've never tried to do that. But yeah, I have just like a calm personality. I mean, that's just kind of like my thing. So I'm just being me. But it is funny when people say the Bob Ross thing, because I've watched
Yeah.
Bob Ross for a long time. I remember
Yeah,
watching him
same.
back in the 90s, on
Yeah.
PBS and stuff. Yeah. So, but that's cool. So yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
I appreciate you
Absolutely,
coming.
man.
Yeah.
So what's new? What you just been cooking, doing your thing?
Doing my thing, waiting for this weather to kind of break. It's
Yeah.
I always joke with people people say, "Well, I grill in the rain." It's like, well, yeah, I can grill in the rain too, but it's pretty hard to film in the rain.
Yes,
True.
exactly.
The electronics don't like that.
Yeah.
So it's literally been 2 weeks since I've been able to film outside,
Mhm.
and we're not going to be able to do it until Thursday this week because we got more rain coming. So,
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be. So you got to do the inside videos. I'm doing some stuff tomorrow and the next day, and just keeping it going.
Awesome. What's your favorite thing? What's like when you like? Oh crap! I'm not gonna be able to cook outside. What's like usually a go-to inside, kind of that comfort, rainy, coldy type meal for you?
Well, we always joke and call it chili for people who like chili. And I think I did a video on it once, and it basically just uses chuck roast to get really like shredded, like pot roast, and use that in like the slow cooker with all the chili fixins. And so you get that really sort of shredded beef chili. It's not the new, but we just joke because, normally if we're just making a quick chili, it's going to be with something like ground beef or, you're doing that to get the meat in it. And Sometimes beans, sometimes no beans. I'm sorry, whoever doesn't like beans or does like beans. It depends
I'm
on if
the
we have beans.
I'm the only one who doesn't like them around here.
I always get mixed up whether it's like Texas chili is no beans or
Hot
with
dog chili.
beans. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
whose chili is what, but I prefer without beans generally because then you can put it on things like hot dogs and burgers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's the go-to inside thing is if it's wet and rainy, man, it's making some chili, maybe some cornbread.
Oh yeah.
Comfort food.
Yeah.
What about you, Damon? What's your guys' go-to over there?
It's almost the same thing. That or either a beef stew, so it's still similar. You're still using your chuck roast or a pot roast, and I mean you got your potatoes and carrots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So still comforting food.
Yeah, we did a couple chicken soups this last couple weeks inside. That's one of my favorites. I'll put a bunch of vegetables and stuff in there, so it's really hearty too. And
I did like a video actually a few weeks ago, like a meatball minestrone soup, because the minestrone, I love minestrone soup, and I just wanted to give like a little bit of protein to it.
Yeah.
So just made some meatballs and threw it in there. And it was it turned out, I've done it a couple times, but it really turned out good. It's like a really good cold weather, hearty soup. And it was raining that day too. It was like, well, I'm doing it inside. You know.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Real good.
It just started me thinking. Now I want to do like an Italian wedding style soup because you said meatballs and soup.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That Italian wedding soup does have those little meatballs in it, doesn't it? Yeah, my son loves that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that soup.
Yeah,
I can't even remember the last time I had it.
Yeah, there's a restaurant near us that we would get takeout. And my son, that's what he wanted: Italian wedding soup. You know, we'd be getting sandwiches or lasagna and whatever, and I want the soup. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Oh man, this looks so good, dude.
Was that the pulled beef one?
Yes, that's the pulled beef one.
Yeah. After a while, you forget like which thumbnail goes to which video.
I'm sure.
Like,
Usually, I'll just clip the photo, but on these, I figured I better leave a description. In case there's a lot of posts on your page.
Well, I get like questions. Someone will say, "Hey, what do you?" In this, when you made the chuck roast, what did you do? It's like, which one? I got 650 videos. Which one?
Yeah.
Look which chuck roast. So that's also one of those simple ones. Pulled beef, man.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can do it on the grill, you can do it inside. You could throw it in the slow cooker if you want, in the oven. Doesn't matter. You just get it tender, mix it with any sauce you like, seasonings, and it kind of reminds me when I was a kid of what my mom would make with called sloppy joes. You probably
exactly.
Which was basically some ground meat and a jar of sauce or something, poured on a bun. This is sort of the grown-up version of that pulled beef. Yeah.
Oh, I love pulled beef. Do you usually use chuck roast for that?
Yeah, I like chuck roast for that.
Yeah.
It's usually the easiest to get, and in sort of the price range, it's probably the most economical. Yeah.
Actually, I have one dry brining right now for that.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. If there's a good deal, I'll grab a couple or three if I'm at Costco or something and they have them, I'll just freeze them. Yeah.
Yeah, they hold good.
Yeah, they do.
And they're so versatile. You could cook it up, cut it up, cook it off like little sections of steak, or you could break it down, pot roast, whatever. There's tons of stuff.
We use it for everything. Taquitos, tacos, burritos.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You could kind of do a carne asada thing with it, just with the seasonings, but it's still pulled. You take it a little less, you slice it, and then it is a really versatile cut of beef. And it's funny because it used to be cheaper. I'm talking like 7, 8, 9 years ago. It was cheaper, and now it's kind of come up because it's gotten more popular.
Our buddy Rev always preaches that. He's like, just stop. Every time a craze goes, he's all, you're gonna start paying more for it. Chicken wings is the big one, man. Chicken wings were like trash back in the day. And now, good grief.
Hideously expensive, especially if you're buying them fresh. They're like really expensive. Yeah, and you're right. They would just be the things over in the side of the butcher case. We did the chicken. It's all over here, all the good chicken. You guys want those little leftover things? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because we used to shop at a butcher when I was a kid, and that's the way it was. In their butcher case, the chicken wings were all the way down at the end. Yeah. I mean, it was probably in the section where it's maybe not as good refrigeration. And so the first thing is, we'll just tuck those down there, because yeah, you're right. I forgot about that used to be like throwaway pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even also things like what's hard for me to get unless I go to like a Mexican grocery store or something is barbacoa, beef cheeks,
Same.
And you can't get it. It's like you go to a butcher. In fact, it was funny. There was a place I worked with that would send me Wagyu beef and stuff, and for several years. And they asked, one time, like, well, what would you like us to send you? And I finally said, I'd already done brisket and all that stuff. They sent us like, what about beef cheeks? And they go, well, we usually just send those out to someone else to process. It's like, well, send them to me. So yeah, I had Wagyu beef cheeks, but yeah, they're hard to get. Any kind of beef cheeks are hard to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see them here either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also like tri-tip. It's funny, when I did a lot of tri-tip stuff, and a lot of people had never had tri-tip because they'd never seen it, especially back east and in the South. I had a lot of people saying, I've never seen that. I asked my butcher how to get it, and there's like, apparently, at least from what a couple butchers out there said, that restaurants would buy it. And there was really not a lot of use for it. And even in California, where it kind of got its start as Santa Maria tri-tip, before that, they would grind it up for burgers, that cut.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of my favorite cut that's easy to do for really good beef. Doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah, tri-tips it's like you're saying, it's something that's so good, and it's like you can do it in 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
It's just
you could do a whole one.
Yeah.
You could do a whole one. You could cut it into steaks. You could do a lot of stuff with it. You can do it brisket style if you got some more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to do it, but it's really surprising to me when it is harder for people to find a cut like, that or, beef cheeks. Cause it's like, we got the same cows everywhere.
Exactly.
It's not like they're raising them without that part of the, thing everybody has tried for cheese. So why can't we get that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited. We got a deal thing going on with a farm out of Minnesota called Frickson Family Farms that we're doing a collab, the Dude Network box.
Oh, nice.
And it has beef cheeks. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get beef cheeks.
Get oxtail too if you can, man. That's another thing. It's hard when I go to like there's a Whole Foods here that has a pretty big butcher section, and I'll go in there and I ask him. I said, oxtails? Do you have oxtail? Like he said, they're gone like half an hour after they open because people will come in and clean them out, oxtail and stuff like that. So. Yeah, usually I can get that at like the Mexican market, the carnicerias and things like that. I can get beef cheeks or oxtail, but yeah, just in the general butcher stores or things like that, it's really hard to find.
It's interesting too that we still have to deal with some of that because the Friday night show we did, we were talking with I don't know if you know James Grubbs is Barbecue Grubbs.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got hooked up with a bunch of guys in South Africa and stuff, and they're going over to compete in meat stock in Sydney.
Wow.
And we had his team on, and we're talking to these guys in South Africa, and like Low and Slow Barbecues really only started, like a handful of guys have done it, but it's really only took off in like the last 2 years. Right. So these guys are going to their butchers, training them about what cuts are. And they said they'll go to like 4 different ones, tell them a brisket, and what, blah, blah, and they'll get 4 different entire things. It's crazy. Like
I've gotten things before. We're at the store. In fact, you probably know Joe, Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue.
Oh yeah.
I actually one time I was talking to him and I said, I'm going to send you a picture or something because I bought this. I was just really in a hurry and it was at Costco. It was like, it looked like a brisket point and it said brisket point on the thing. But when I got it home and I opened it, it was like, this doesn't look like a brisket point. And I sent the picture to Joe. He goes, that looks like they kind of triangle cut the flat. You know how the flat has a little bit more of a rectangular shape kind of there? Yeah. Because it looks like they just went across it at a diagonal and packaged it as 2 points. It was like,
Dang.
and it was a flat. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, you're right. It's like two different butchers, or things can cut stuff completely different.
Mm-hmm. And it's just that's really fascinating to me. That still happens over here though too. Like Tony had to teach his butchers what a picanha was.
Yeah.
Which is just a top sirloin.
Was it sirloin cap, right?
Yeah,
Sirloin
cap.
Yeah. I'd never heard of picanha honestly until about 4 years ago. I'd never heard of it, and then it started becoming popular through things, Google would do it and stuff like that. And it's like, I'd never seen it in butcher shop or anything like that. But now you can kind of find it too, because trends bring things to the surface.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I guess I'd probably heard about it like I don't know. It's been a long time, because there's a Brazilian restaurant in the Bay Area I had been to that had it. And that's where the name comes from, or that it's Spanish or something. So,
I mean, I'm sure I ate it because I'd been to Brazilian, things where they bring it out on the big, metal skewers and serve you. And so I'm sure I had it, but I just knew it as beef, whatever the Brazilian beef was.
Exactly.
It didn't have any name to it. So I'll have the beef. Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like that for me when people were talking about picanhas. I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I think I know it. I think I've had that. And now I love them. So they're great.
It is a really good cut. I mean, it's expensive, if you can find it, but it's a really good cut if you really want something that's actually not that hard to cook, because that really is one of those ones where you really don't want to overcook that.
No.
And so you got to know the people you're going to eat it with are okay with that. Because I know people who are like, no, I want it medium or above. It's like, this is not for you then. I can cook you something else.
Yes, exactly.
I can cook you another thing.
Hot dogs.
Or I'll take a tri-tip and I'll do this half of it, closer to the fire for you. But yeah, picanha, it's good.
Do you like better cooking it already cut or whole?
Oh, whole. Yeah, I like cooking it whole. Well, because then you have the choice. You can cut it yourself and do that little wrap on the skewers or something like that. But yeah, I think there's something fun about doing it whole, because it's got that nice thick fat layer. And once you're going to give it like a sear, that fat hits there, you get the flames.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
It goes back to like, hey, I'm gonna throw lighter fluid on there.
Yes, exactly.
You're just hitting it with fat. Yeah.
Oh, let me see here. I wanted to talk this one right here. This salad, this braised oxtail. Since you just brought up oxtail, yep.
Yeah.
Chimichurri fries, not fries.
Yeah. Oxtail chimichurri fries. Yeah. Yeah. I had to go to Whole Foods and get oxtail. I asked the guy, I said, well, what time do I need to get here to get it? He goes, if you get here, I think they open at 8 or something like that, 8:30. He said, if you get here, we'll have it. So I got there and I was able to get some oxtail.
Nice.
And I occasionally see it, I'll go to Costco and sometimes they'll just have it there.
Yeah.
In the meat department. But right. But you don't know if it's going to be there. So, but yeah, that was good. That was one of those ones where I'd had some not chili fries, but something similar, asada fries. There's a lot of Mexican restaurants here that'll do asada fries. And I thought, man, that would be good to do with something really pull apart tender like oxtail. So that's what I just did that one.
Okay, so that's how you came to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just my question around that. How did you come up with the oxtail idea?
I knew I've had oxtail and used it and stuff before, and it's really pullable. It's kind of like chuck roast when you do it, but it's super super rich flavor. Yes. Some cuts are like that. You can take like an ounce of oxtail and an ounce of another one, beef cut, and taste them, and you'll just get a lot of beef flavor in that oxtail.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wanted to give it kind of that little bit of Argentinian and South American with the chimichurri on there. Yeah,
that plate just looks phenomenal.
It tasted good too.
I recently, I don't know what took me so long, but I just recently started doing chimichurri.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm really mad at myself for just wasting so many years without it. But what else do we use with chimichurri?
Man, the thing about it is everyone has their own recipe too. When you start looking at recipes for it, there's I did one which is a red chimichurri. There's also really hot ones. Yeah, really hot ones. If you just go across and look at all the different recipes online for them, you'll see like, oh, this family recipe, this one like that.
Mhm.
And so really you kind of get one and you play with it until you get
Okay.
it to where you like it. Yeah. Some people put, nuts in it, like pesto. Like it'll almost be pesto-y,
okay.
but they'll grind up, certain nuts and things. So yeah,
Ooh, I would like
Interesting.
that.
it's delicious.
I would like that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm late to the party and there's so much I've missed out on. So I'm trying to download it all.
I was late to picanha,
Yeah.
I was late to picanha, and I mean, I'm sure there are things that I'll still discover. That,
I hope
preparation
it'll always be like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's things you see people make, and you go, "How did I never see that before?"
True.
How is that something I didn't know? Because it looks, but that's also cool with all the kind of the explosion of food channels and things on YouTube, is that people start trying things, and every once in a while someone comes up with something which is like really cool. Yeah. It's like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to look at stuff and see what people are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So can I want to, there's a comment in here that leads into something interesting, and I apologize for not knowing this the first time you were on our show.
Yeah.
But he's our buddy says, I've never seen anyone with a Mercury Rising poster.
I wrote the book.
Well, yeah, doesn't stay.
I wrote the book that the movie was based on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So so this time around, I saw the video you made where you were asking.
I'm trying to see if I have the book here behind me somewhere. It might be somewhere else in my office, but yeah, I think it's over there somewhere. Yeah, I don't have it right behind me.
But I saw, because you do videos, you will interact with the commenters or people who ask you questions and stuff.
Yeah.
And you did a video showing, I think it's 14 novels or 15. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's somewhere like 15 or so. I mean, under different names and things.
That's totally wild, man. It's fascinating.
Yep.
So how did that transition from you being just like this rock star author to I'm going to be a barbecue guy?
I was doing that. It started, I think it was 1992. I sold my first novel.
Okay.
And then I worked through that. Then I worked from about as I was still writing books, from about the year 2000 to 2017. I worked directly in the film industry, writing films, and working on films. And then about 2017, it's not that I didn't want to do it anymore. I just wanted to do things on my terms. And that's kind of difficult when you're, when you have to, it's not that I don't like collaborating, but there's, especially in the film industry, there's a lot of doing nothing. It's a lot of talk and not a lot of doing something. So I just decided I wanted to kind of explore something else. And honestly, I didn't plan to do the YouTube thing at all. I just I had wanted to buy an offset, and I was like, well, I'll just buy like an inexpensive offset to see how, I can cook something on it. And it was like an Oklahoma Joe's Highland. And it was like, I think it was like $299 on special at Lowe's.
Yeah.
So I went and bought it. And then I started watching YouTube videos to see how to assemble it. And was there anyone doing anything to like modify and make it work better? And then I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. These people are putting these videos up. And then I think I did a video of just me assembling part of it or something, like doing something to the firebox. I can't remember. And put that on YouTube. And it was like, it got 100 views. And it was like, whoa. I mean, I shot it on my iPhone, just all janky everywhere. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I think I put out like a tri-tip video next, because tri-tip was something I cooked all the time on my electric smoker. And then it was like, I got a couple hundred views. And I was like, oh, I'll just do this for fun. And then, after a while, fun became, wow, I'm earning money at this. I had no plans to do it. I mean, it's just kind of what happened, and I enjoy it. So, and it's also another kind of creative side with filming and stuff like that that I didn't get to do. And I think I've improved over the years. When I go back and look at my early videos, which some of them are most popular. I mean, one of my early videos I think has like 1.5 million views, which was like, I look at it now and it's like, oh man, I wish I could redo that. Because it just does not look good. It just doesn't look good.
That's funny.
So,
I think people I think there's a whole group of people, of followers that
Yeah.
that appreciate that though. The whole
Mhm.
story of the
Yeah.
channels and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just
it's been like I started in March of 2017, so it's almost 6 years. And there are some channels that start and go on a rocket ship trajectory in a year. They've got like 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Some who are there for 10 years and they've got 10,000. And I don't know that there's rhyme or reason to why some people make it fast, some people make it slow. I mean, I think I've been sort of at that. I had go like this at times. You have those you hit those plateaus and then you go like this, and you just keep. The best advice I ever heard on this was from Casey Neistat. Everyone on YouTube probably heard of Casey Neistat. The initials were JKU. Just keep uploading.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing you can do to grow better than just keep uploading.
And see,
that's,
like,
yeah,
there's a ton of like Instagram real coaches and all these
yeah,
people. And I'm not saying there aren't strategies and this and that
yeah,
if you want to really dive in, but
yeah,
there is it only, like we always joke, it only takes one, because that's all it
yeah,
is. It's just sometimes it's a slow process. So
yeah. I mean, I just barely started kind of jumping in with a little bit of understanding into reels. I just within the last like probably 5 or 6 months, and I don't get huge views on it. I think the most I've ever had is like 15,000 views on a reel. But again, it's not my main focus.
yeah,
It
no,
doesn't
exactly.
it doesn't pay anywhere near as much as YouTube does. So, I think I earned like last month on Instagram like $100.
Yeah. And it takes it's effort.
It's a lot of effort, but the thing I recognize, and I've never done a YouTube short. I probably will, but I've never been one of those people to like jump on a trend.
Yeah.
My first thing is I ask, okay, if I do it, am I bringing some sort of value to the people who watch? Is it something they really want to see, or am I just trying to do something because everybody else is doing it and because YouTube's telling you should do it, or Instagram's telling you should do it? And I've seen people jump whole hog into shorts, like cooking channels and things like that. And then suddenly you go, hey, they haven't done a short in 4 or 5 months. Why? They're not being paid for them. The revenue on shorts and things like that is not there yet. And so if you're going to invest a lot of time, maybe you're going to get some exposure from it, but that goes back to other things like, oh, it'll be good exposure for you. Well, yeah, that's great for you, but it doesn't pay me. So exactly. I want to be able to bring some value to people. They're going to enjoy it, but I also want to know my time is worth it.
Absolutely,
at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I've really started to enjoy making reels, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do them better and more, so it's not just like, God, I've got to shoot another whole video and then do this, and I'm just trying to do a more economical way so that I can enjoy it also, because that's important to me, is enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Yep. That's huge.
As soon as it starts feeling like, oh, I gotta you
right. Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I'll stop. I mean, I'll keep going, but if I continually feel like that, it's just it's only a matter of time before
the burnout will take over.
Yeah. So you just adjust what you want to do. You just adjust how you enjoy it. And I say that in a lot of my videos, and people will comment sometimes, not always nice comments, like, well, you should do it this way and this, because that's a stupid. And it's like, if that works for you, that's great. But this is the way I enjoy doing it. If I wanted to wrap it in butcher paper and create a foil boat and do this and take all these steps, I would do that. But I don't enjoy doing it that way. I enjoy wrapping it in butcher paper and putting it in the oven so I can go inside, or sometimes I want to sit outside by the grill, so I'll throw it back on the grill out there. But it's I hope that my audience, when they watch things, see that enjoyment is as important as the finished product. Because then if all you're doing is slaving over making this stuff, then honestly, and this is not a slam on it, you're a cook in a kitchen. You're like the guy there, you're slinging hash, and that's not me. I want to enjoy the process.
That's a really good way of putting it, because you're cooking your menu, but you're just pumping it out for hoping someone loves it. So that's
I want to just enjoy it, and
yeah.
and I generally it turns out good. I mean, most of my food, unless I'm doing a test thing, which I do a lot of test stuff ahead of time. But most of the stuff will end up just with family,
Yeah.
and my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, things like that. And so, they enjoy it, and they'll tell me if something's not right. But yeah, I find that the food is, at least it's better when I enjoy making it. I'm not rushing. I'm just doing what I need to do. And
yeah.
And that's some things I joke with my wife. I say, like, I absolutely hate filming on the flat top, on the griddle, because everything is so fast.
Right, yep.
There's no way with cameras and everything to like move a camera, do anything. You're cooking, and it's going to be done, and you can't pause it. Something like you're doing a chuck roast or a brisket where you've got lag time in between when you start and you're doing steps. Things hit the griddle, they're going, and you're doing it straight through. So it's very difficult to film that and get it right when you're just doing it with set cameras like I do. I mean, that's why I have so many cameras running.
We have pictures of that, because that's something that I'm always impressed by.
Yeah, that's the inside. That's the inside rig, and I have a 5-camera setup outside, and inside it's 6, and I can add more to it if I need to. So yeah, I would joke. I talked Baby Back Maniac Justin. He and I would joke with him. I said, "Look, man, it's absurd. I know it's absurd, because he takes so much pride in getting his things to look so good, and he's usually doing it with 1 or 2 cameras, maybe. He gets really good cinematic shots and everything. And me, it's like, I've got every camera aiming everywhere to try and make sure I don't miss something.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because I always say angles are options. So every angle I have is an option to cover something if something goes out of focus, or, you don't get to see this, but every time I'm filming inside, there's a camera off to my right side camera, I call it. And if I'm doing something with my hand here, that usually hits the camera, sees that, and focuses on my hand and not the food. So I have to then adjust things and reach. And I always get that question, like, why do you wear gloves? Well, because I probably have to adjust cameras and lights and microphones every 45 seconds to a minute sometimes. And if I have to stop and wash my hands and dry them like that, I'm ripping off gloves and slipping gloves on and going like this and trying to set the focus and lock it on here and then come back down and work. So yeah,
that's a process.
It's a process, and it's absurd. It is.
Yeah.
I know it's
absurd. Editing all that. All that takes time. That's not like throwing it in CapCut like everybody on Instagram and stuff. That's programs and time.
And that's the thing with the Instagram stuff. It's really funny doing the reels is, I take the video usually with I have an extra iPhone too, so I'll sometimes set up 2 of them. I have like an old iPhone that I still just use as a camera. But excuse me, I also have a setup with cameras set to vertical that I'm trying. But then that goes into the computer, and then I edit it on the computer and do all that, and then I have to export it back to the phone to upload it. So it's not a quick process, but but I'm really picky about how the end product comes out looking. And so and it's not saying other people's don't look good. It's just, I know that doing it on my phone, I can't get it to look as good as I like it. I'm not that talented on the phone. I'm really not.
Yeah. There are people who make it look phenomenal on the phone. And I'm like, man, but I absolutely get it. And I think at this point, it'd almost be a disservice to yourself, because everybody who loves cooking with Rye sees it exactly how they see it every time. And then all of a sudden it's just like, not like anybody's going to get pissed, but it's why would I go backwards?
It's kind of funny. It's like, okay, no one probably noticed this. Okay. So the most recent video I uploaded, I can't remember which one it was, the chicken one, the chicken thighs.
Oh yeah.
That's my first video in 4K. If it's the only one on there that's in 4K.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with it. All my cameras can film in 4K, but when you film with potentially 12 to 13 cameras between inside and outside on a video in 4K footage, on a 1080 video, I generate about 150 gigabytes of data. just that I into my computer to start editing.
Yeah.
The 4K is about 800 gigabytes, almost a terabyte of data. I can't support that much data.
Yeah.
So I finally just, with that one, I took the 1080 thing, and I've had a program for a while, and I tested it, and I just upscaled it to 4K, and it looks fantastic. I don't need to, in a program.
Yeah.
It's called Topaz Video AI. And it's phenomenal. In fact, I was not going to do, I had tried it and it works great, but it takes forever. You know, it's a 7-minute video took 90 minutes to process into 4K.
Yeah, because when you use a good AI that'll reduce the noise, that takes a long time.
This is amazing. And I wasn't going to start doing it. I was already starting to switch over to 4K and trying it and stuff, even with the data amount. But then there's someone I watch who does like Premiere Pro tips and things. Her channel, she's called Premiere Gal. Her name's Kelsey. And she was doing one recently. She said, if you haven't noticed, my last 2 videos have been 4K. And it's because I'm upscaling them using this program. And I was like, I have that program. Like, maybe I should actually try this now. And I did. I test uploaded. I looked at it on my 4K TV. I was like, I cannot tell the difference. You know, I can't see anything that tells me this was not filmed in 4K and upscaled with a computer program using AI. It blew my mind. Yeah. So that's what's strange about some of the stuff is, you know, this was an easier way to do it. To me, it's like, you know, what am I going to, I mean, I have like, let me grab this. Hold on. So I can show you. So this is a 8 terabyte backup drive.
Yeah.
I have
got
6,
a 4. Yeah.
I have 6 of these in my safe over here. That is just my backed up data from 650 videos, the raw data.
Yeah.
So that's what 48 terabytes, and I've got another 8 terabyte that's hooked up. So basically, as I do stuff in like month groups, I'll just dump it over on that from my working drives on the computer.
Yep.
So yeah, the technology and the expectation things that people want higher quality. They push things, but there are limitations. Like I can't do 800 gigabytes of data with every video.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
No, that's because let's say an average, like when I download our live streams to take clips from or whatever, they're like anywhere from 2.5 to maybe 3 point something gigs, right?
Yeah.
So then when I start cutting into them, that adds more memory and more memory and more memory. And I'm not even starting with 800 gigs. So that's
so you think about it, you're working with what's the equivalent of one camera because it's one, and I'm sometimes doing 12 or 13.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, it's just multiplied. So, but I was very happy to like finally go, okay, and I love the fact that you learn things from YouTube. I learned all this from YouTube.
Yeah.
And to be able to someone I watch on and learn video things on, it's like, okay, if she's doing it and she's getting that good a quality, okay, I'm going to pull the trigger on it and try it with one video and actually upload it. And, I'm very happy with that.
I'm laughing. My buddy said, John, listening to a 3-hour pod. I'm still rendering. My bad, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So with all that process and everything, on a good week, how many videos do you try to knock out in 1 week?
I'd like to get back up to 3. I think I mentioned to you guys before we started, for a whole year, I did 4 videos a week plus a live stream. And that was insane, but it grew my channel and I wanted to do it. I made a commitment to do it. And I did it. I'd like to get back up to 3. I'm usually been doing 2, but I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I've been doing a lot of stuff trying to prepare for, like I said, doing more reels, starting to do shorts, but I'm not going to do it just to do it. I want to do it because it adds something to the channel, for a reason. So there are other things that have kind of taken the place of that 3rd and 4th video every week. But I want to get back up to 3 a week.
There you go.
Like reels or the shorts or whatever, you could do like quick tips and stuff.
Yeah, and I've done tests where I've done things. It's kind of like one of the things that always bothered me, and YouTube's making a little better now, is how shorts were just kind of thrown in with everything. Yeah. And so you just see like video, short, video, short. I didn't like that. I know you can do now the shorts shelf, which I like. Okay. So, but I've got to look at myself and feel like, is this something I think people are going to enjoy? And is it going to be useful? And I think shorts, that's kind of the way. It's like, I never knew how to use like Instagram stories. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Until I started like watching a lot of like, you and people like that who would put stuff out, and Tony, and like, okay, I get it. It's a little more informal. It's kind of like, let's let people see what's going on. And so I've tried to do some of that stuff too.
Okay.
But it's a learning process, all continual learning process.
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely. My buddy Robert says you need some interns.
Well, I joke, I actually just said to my wife like a couple of weeks ago, I said, look, can we try something? Because I just mentioned about the flat top and stuff. I said, can we try something maybe in the next month or two of like you actually being a camera and holding a camera and actually being something that's mobile,
like movable. Yeah.
Because it would make things easier for me, because you could stay focused on the thing that's most important while these other cameras are just kind of coverage. And I'm not worrying about timing and is that camera seeing things, because I know you would see what needs to be seen. So yeah, intern wise, that would be interesting. I mean, I'm a one-man show.
Yeah.
And it's that's kind of why for me the number of cameras, because I don't like stopping if I don't have to. I'd rather just be able to keep going on something. Yeah.
So how long, walk us through, like, just briefly, like the time and process amount of effort it takes for one, say you're doing pulled beef sandwiches tomorrow. So like from the moment you start, because I know that you'll do stuff beforehand, like make up a rub the night before, you'll do stuff,
wrap up,
and it'll be a couple days, and then boom, production day.
Well, I'll usually film like the seasoning. I like to do stuff the day before and put it in the refrigerator overnight, let it, just kind of dry brine a little bit. Often you'll see that in a video where I season something and I feel that's the beginning of the video, goes in the refrigerator, and I'll like see it more out at the grill. Okay, so that's filmed. It's all there. Then the next morning I'm, or whatever time I'm going to start, let's say it's a chuck roast, that's probably going to be minimum 5 hours, probably closer to 6 or 7, depending on just how it cooks. Every cut of beef is different. So I'm out there an hour before, setting everything up, getting, filming the lighting of whatever I'm going to be using often. So that's what, 7, 8, probably 8 or 9 hours outside filming, and then come back in for the finish up. And, depending on if it's going to be in the oven or if it's going to finish outside. I mean, I'll probably in a chuck roast video like that, probably 9 or 10 hours total between 2 days of filming, of just filming.
Yeah.
And
just filming.
And editing, and that changes too. The editing stuff, I just changed my audio process.
Okay.
In my last couple of videos, you might actually hear a change in my audio because I changed the way I process audio. Actually, it's better and it saves time.
Oh, double win.
Because where I film outside, there's a major street within 50 feet of my backyard.
Well, Southern California.
Yeah, and I actually did in one of the videos, I said, just so you guys all know, I'm going to turn off the audio processing that I'm doing in the computer right now so you can hear. And it's like,
yeah. And
then once it's processed, it's gone because the computer takes care of that. But that's like a $1,200 audio program to do that. And okay, so that worked. But there's a new way that I'm doing it, which, probably shortens the editing process by 2 hours because it would take me 2 hours to process it.
Yeah.
So it's probably 8 hours of editing, 8 and processing for any video, probably. I mean, so it's a 20-hour 18 to 20 hours for a video if I was between filming and processing and then upload, uploading, and sometimes you're sitting there waiting for 30, 40 minutes for it to upload. All right. And then now it's processing. Now it's running checks. Now it's doing this. So you're not done when the video is done.
No.
Now you got to go through all this other steps of getting it up on YouTube and doing these other things to it. And if for a while I was going through and doing the captions. I mean, because the program I use will do captions, Adobe Premiere Pro, but you have to go back in and tweak them because they don't get every word right.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was doing that, and I was looking at stuff, trying to see if there's any difference in my analytics from that. And honestly, there's no difference from adding the captions that you work on versus the auto-generated ones that YouTube does. None. I didn't see any difference.
That's good to know. Because that takes time sometimes.
that took me another hour.
Yeah.
For a video. So I stopped doing it because the auto-generated captions are good enough, and there's no change in what people are getting and responding to.
Yeah, and that's like that's important to know. Like, I'm kind of like I grow real slow because I just don't participate in any of the like we talk about. I refuse to let it become something that's like, oh, this is now a job. It doesn't pay my bills or anything yet, so you get what you get, right? It's all enjoyment, therapy, just my space.
Yeah,
but it's just wild to me, man. Just wild how much effort and stuff. Because like my whole effort is the cook, and then you just see me going, a little bit here and there.
But my first, I don't know how many videos was this,
Yeah,
and I'm behind it trying to show stuff while I'm doing stuff, and that's not easy. It's not easy at all.
No.
And it's also this stuff, doing vertical, doing this while you're trying to do stuff down here.
It never matches up.
Yeah, you go to make sure you're holding the phone right. You go to pour and you completely miss.
Miss the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've messed up stuff in videos. Sometimes I leave it in, because it's funny. I remember one time I did something where it was like doing the spatchcocking a chicken, and it just literally, I pressed down and it just like slipped, shot out towards the camera. It's like, because it just was slippery on that tray. It was like, so funny stuff happens. I wish that I had enough kind of forethought to save those moments in a separate thing and just do a complete blooper thing. But I just honestly, there's so much else going on while you're trying to film it and edit it that it's like, I don't have that sort of forethought, and I wish I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes it's like, can I add any more to myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of like, let's pull it up real quick. Let me see. How do I do this again? Here we go. Can you guys see it yet?
No, I can't.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, how many you said? There's 650?
I think I'm at a little over 650 total videos.
That is insane.
Yeah. So
what
and I've really been working on my thumbnails too. I've really been trying to make it better.
So this is where you find him, guys. He's on Facebook, Instagram, Amazon store, but this is his bread and butter right here, is the YouTube page. This is where the magic happens.
No, that pork belly was good. That pork belly was good. That was good.
But I mean, like, one of my favorite things. Let me come back to you guys real quick. One of my favorite things is you are all over the map. Yeah. Like like they call you the Bob Ross of BBQ. That's the nickname, whatever. And you grill and barbecue a lot. Yeah. But there's desserts, bread baking, there's so many times you're making your own seasonings and rubs.
Yeah, my two most popular videos are beef jerky in the oven and my mom's deviled eggs. Those are my two most popular videos. Yeah.
Huh.
So and it was interesting when I named my channel, I was going back and forth. It was going to be like, something smoking, things like that. But then I thought, over time, if you niche yourself down too much, what if something happens with that?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's going to cook. Mm-hmm. So cooking. I mean, and I like to cook. I in all honesty, it is so much easier to film inside in the kitchen than it is outside at the barbecue. If you've never tried to film something in a drum smoker, get every camera aiming down in there. Try that and then get your hands in there and don't block. It's tough. Or
don't block it, yeah.
Or filming on a pellet grill. You open up the door and it's like that fan is just coming at you like a jet engine.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's easier inside. But I love cooking out at the grill because it is kind of like you're hanging out there.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing something long.
I tell that all the time. Like, I think one of the reasons my wife was okay with getting me the pellet grill, like she got me a pellet grill, totally surprised.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, he won't spend as much time outside. And like, I find myself still like, I mean, I'm not one of these guys, but I'm still outside. I just love being outside cooking.
Yeah. And those are always the funny comments too. People leave on videos. It's like, yeah, you're opening that too much. I'm like, I'm filming it. It's like, you want to see that or the kettle lid? I mean, it's like, there's a trade-off when you're making a video. It's going to get opened when you are doing something. But yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. But no, the pellet grill's funny. I always say to people who ask, because you can tell some people what their level of commitment to grilling is. And when I did a video called, I think it was like the best starter smoker. And my opinion is, and it still is, was an electric smoker. Because that's how I started, because someone gave it to me as a gift. My sister did. And it was like, okay, I started with it. I didn't know if I was going to do anything else, but man, it was simple. It's an outdoor oven. It is.
Yes.
And it's like a pellet grill is an outdoor oven.
That's right.
But you can add smoke flavor to it. And you start with that and you go, hey, I kind of like this. This is fun. You can dial everything in. It's simple. Okay, maybe this is enough for me. Maybe I don't need to go any farther, Or then you go, hey, maybe doing something like this, but on a kettle might be fun too. I could get the same sort of effect, but I'm burning stuff now, or an offset. So I think that whether you're using an electric pellet grill, anything, it doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying it. I mean, that's the big thing. That's the Bob Ross part of this. It's like, just enjoy it, man. Just enjoy it.
Seriously. Yeah. And like, that's one thing that's been killing me, man. It's just, I mean, I could be one of those guys who stands out next to my Weber in the rain. I can. It's totally fine. I can cover it and all that, but it's not the same enjoyment. And
and we've been getting a lot of rain, man. You know it.
Yeah,
we've been getting a lot of rain. We've had, I think the last week we've had about 5.5 inches here.
Yeah.
And that's not, I mean, for other places, that's nothing, but for Southern California, that's a lot. We've got another probably 2 or 3 inches coming this week too. So, so it's
that's tough on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is it's been so infrequent that there's a bunch of new drivers and a bunch of people who had never driven and they like don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like mayhem sometimes.
Yeah. Because we haven't had a year like this in several years, at least down south here, where you've had big long stretches of where you get maybe a day or two with no rain. We've had, since like January, we've had a lot of rain, and it doesn't usually happen like that here.
No, usually it's spread out from starting the end of November to through February, and what we've got the last week is what.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we had we had a blizzard warning in the mountains down here, which hasn't happened for like 50 years.
Yeah, so it's straight. I call it snow. But it looked like hail at first. And I touch it, and it would just poof into powder. But then there were like square flakes coming down. I'm like, are you freaking? I'm like at 80 feet at where I was at work. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, fun times.
What's your I know we don't do trends and we don't do stuff just to do stuff, but what have you done any of like the big foodie trends that come across every once in a while? And if so, or maybe I'll just like this, what's your favorite thing or most surprising thing you're like, man, I'm going to keep this around that came off the internet?
The funny thing is about the trend things is I'm usually too late. Because here's the thing, for probably a year, there's a restaurant we would go to. I don't know if they remember it, called Lazy Dog. Okay. And there's an appetizer there, which is deep fried deviled eggs. And I was like, oh, these are cool. It's like, and I was thinking like, man, I think I might do this. I think I'm going to do a video on this. I tried it. It's doable. I made it at home. This works. It's like, and then I didn't like jump on it. And it's like, suddenly it's like, oh, Sam, the cooking guy's doing a deep fried deviled eggs. And then like, oh, everybody else is doing deep fried deviled eggs. So I'm not quick enough on that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything, I haven't really followed, a lot of trendy stuff to really jump on anything and find something that, I like. I guess picanha would be the closest, but it really wasn't even jumping on that. It was just someone sent it to me, and said, here. And I was like, okay. I get this. This is really good. Yeah.
Do you smoke cream cheese? Like that was a huge one our buddy K started.
I never did that. I never did the bologna one.
I refuse to do that one.
There's so many things that, you know, kind of came out and people are doing them. And it's not there's anything wrong with it. It's just that like I've already started like have lists of things I want to do and kind of try to plug them in. And then suddenly if like you're going, oh my God, I've got to now move that stuff out of the way and try and get this trendy video out. And look, there's a value to that because for people who are trying to grow, that can help you grow. In all honesty, I just personally, I don't jump on the trends when I watch things. So I don't know why I would want to jump on them to make them. You know, it's just not something that draws me in. You know, I honestly, I purposely will not watch a video that is like a clickbait, you know, type.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's just, you know, cause I know look, I know that, you know, woman in the bikini top is not making good brisket. It's like,
yeah,
because it's like, that's what they do. They slap that on the thing to get someone to click it. It's like, show me the brisket. It's a brisket video, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to click on the brisket 100% of the time.
Exactly.
The other ones, I'm going like this.
Yeah. So, you know, and so I don't jump on the trends and I don't follow the clickbait stuff. So nothing wrong with it if that's what you're into, but it's not my thing. Has
there ever been a recipe from another creator like, oh, I got to try this or anything like that?
Well, you know, Joe, Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue, you know, he's got his own food truck and stuff now too. You know, he's done so many great sausage things that, you know, I've done sausage stuff in the past. I don't even know if I've ever done a video, but there is a sausage video I'm going to do. But some of his are like, he does like an al pastor one, which is really good, looking really good. So I'd like to get more into that, you know, but one of the other things I like to do, at least on my channel, is I like to cook like in my kitchen or in my backyard where it's like what other people might have. So I try not to use things that someone might not have. And again, that it doesn't always work. You know, I have a slicer that I've used a few times and I know not everyone has an electric slicer, but it does make things easier if you're doing a lot of like roast beef and stuff like that, where you want to slice it, or beef jerky. So there was a justification for that, but I'd love to do some more sausage things because like his looks so good, you know, he makes such good stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you know who Bill Dumas is?
No.
The sausage sensei.
No.
So we've had him on the show a couple of times. This guy is a sausage. He's like the Doc Brown of sausages.
Right.
He put a whole Thanksgiving dinner in a sausage, and it blew up the internet for a couple weeks. It was crazy.
Yeah. See, I grew up making sausage with my mom and dad, for a family recipe because they were both from Minnesota and like their relatives were from like Europe and things. And there was like a family recipe for this certain sausage, which I don't want to say until I get the video out.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm going to finally do a video on that. You know, and it's kind of like, I remember how mom and dad would make it. And I would be out there with the hand grinder, you know, as a kid, grinding the sausage and the beef and the pork and everything like that. And, you know, I'll use my motorized grinder for this one. I'll tweak a couple other things, you know. If mom was still alive, she'd probably like chastise me for changing the recipe. But I gotta kind of bring it into like, you know, modern day.
Sure. You know? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cause like they would they grew up, you know, in the Depression, you know, on farms in Minnesota. And it's like, I'm sure that they would make these things and like hang them, you know, just out in air dry. You know, it's like, you know, it's like they probably had tolerance to botulism and stuff, but I don't feel comfortable doing that now.
Right.
So
my dad and I did 1 year. So we butcher a pig every year.
Right.
And we're like, let's do a ham. Like we should do a ham. We should do some ham. So we took both of them. And I was like, we didn't want to send ours in because they chemically smoke them, which, you know, we want it more natural. I'd rather do it with seasoning and time and the proper way or whatever.
Yeah.
So we looked like it was like the Kentucky Institute or some school, Alabama, somewhere over there. where it's like a school about meat. And so we like watched a bunch of videos. We literally, all the herbs, whatever, butcher paper, cheesecloth so nothing could get to it, and we hung it off the back. We screwed a piece of wood in the back of his awning and hung it. It was like from January to March, cooler months. Obviously, you could not get away with that in California through the summer. But
it sounds like a Wisconsin recipe,
right? Yeah, but it came out really good. But it was just at first I was like, is this okay? But it's how they did it forever.
And I get people, when I did that beef jerky video, which is my most popular video, I had like people from South Africa. It's like, biltong, man, you got to make biltong. And it's like, and I had never heard of it. And so I'm looking it up. It's like, and you literally can't, from what I read, you can't import biltong from South Africa to the United States because of the way it's made. It's like, because literally they're telling me, oh, just take your meat, throw some vinegar on it, some seasoning, and lay it on a rock. It's like, outside or hang it. It's like, it's popular, and I've actually bought the US version, which is not made the same way. But yeah, it's different people make things in really interesting ways. No doubt. That's the way stuff was made here, 50, 60 years ago. And it was more common, but you just can't do it like that commercially anymore.
Right. Yeah. So my parents were back in Tennessee visiting my sisters, and my dad found this meat place. And it took the guy years and years to get his like food licensing or whatever over there, because he does not have a heat source in the place.
Right.
It's all properly air dried and stuff like they used to, dry aging. And it's just, that's crazy. And first of all, it's crazy he has a whole business off that. But
well, I remember growing up, and there was like a legit butcher shop where I grew up, and you'd go in there and they'd have like half cows hanging, kind of behind the case down a hall. And, it wasn't, 40 degrees in there.
No.
But they were butchering them right there, bringing them straight out to the case and stuff. So yeah, things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed a little bit.
Right.
We didn't die. I don't know if I ever got sick from it. That's kind of the way things were done.
No.
Oh, no.
No. He was right into the heart. He's coming. He's coming back.
Come on, baby.
Yep. Well, here, you want to do a comment recap while we're waiting on him to come back?
Yeah, we'll do it. We can hear you barely coming through.
Here. I'll take him, let him come out, and I'll keep watching him while you do a comment recap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and he just come back.
Oh, yeah.
You got me?
He just come back.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't see anything other than you two guys flashing in and out.
So we got people wanting T. Carmack to put his stuff out on the internet. Let's see. There was a good one right here. Right here. Cooking. I enjoy cooking. I don't sweat the mistakes. Exactly. You shouldn't. It's all a learning process. The first time I did the poor man burnt ends with a chuck roast, I was so mad that I didn't even let my dogs have the chunks. I just threw them in the trash. They were like, the front of my Converse would have been easier to chew on. I just have no idea what I did. But I made them great ever since. So, but there was like a little while I was like, I'm not doing those. They're not worth it.
My first brisket was horrible because I made the cardinal sin of saying I'm gonna have brisket ready at 5. And I was like, all right, around 4:00, it was about 170 degrees. It's like, all right, so I'm going to crank this temperature up. I think I got it to 190. It was no rest. It just went out there. It was tough. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was, but you learn from that too. It's that was that thing where it's like, I even did a video on it. It was like time time plus temperature equals tenderness. You got to have those two things to get that last one, especially in the big cuts.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I've learned and talked to people about is, especially with beef, like a pork butt, we all know you can like get squirrely on it and you'll probably still come out with decent pork.
Yeah.
But one thing with beef, and I've noticed it, is consistent temperature.
That helps.
The more that goes like this, not only are you prolonging your cook and this and that, but I feel that gives beef way too much time to dry out for certain cuts.
Well, yeah, it also changes the moisture level in your chamber too when you're going up and down. And so So if you can just keep that, consistent, and I'm not one of those like temperature Nazis where you go,
no, me, no.
It's got to be 225 or it's got to be this, It's like, if you're within 20 degrees of that target, it's going to move. Look, it's just like your oven. If you set your oven at 350, your oven is at 325, it's at 375. It goes like this. It turns on and off. It doesn't stay the same thing. So if you're within that little band there, you're fine. But if you're at like 225 and then at 375, then back down, it can be difficult. Yeah.
So have you done a brisket style tri-tip, Ryne?
I did one. Yeah. Just for honestly. Okay. You know what? Here's a good question. That's a good answer to one of your questions. That was because someone asked me. It was like a trend thing. Oh, and okay. I figured, okay, I like brisket. I like tri-tip. I'll try it. And so I did it. And it was better than I expected. It was.
Okay.
It was not as good as the way I just like tri-tip normally, which is like medium rare, kind of in that range.
Yeah.
And I do a specific method when I do my tri-tips because I know it's going to be the same every time.
Yes, exactly. Me too.
And so, but it was interesting. It was like, I could see why people would do this. I wouldn't do it, but I could see why people do it. But yeah.
So I did it. I tried it once and
like it?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I did, but it was not. I don't wrap things either. Right. But I wrapped it because I'm like, this is a tri-tip for crying out loud. There's no cap. There's no fat. And it is very dry. So I bagged it because I don't throw away stuff.
Yeah.
And I got it in the freezer. I'll pull it out and just make some tacos or something I can put moisture back into.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fun to try some things sometimes. I'm not chasing for that. I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My buddy told me it'd be really good to do it like that and then thin slice it for sandwiches.
I don't even remember what I did with it.
And I really agree with David right here. Tri-tip should just be cooked like a steak. I just really agree with that. And
it's a big steak. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It's a big steak. And even if you cut it up and cook it individually, like individual steaks, it's just a steak. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of that halfway between making just say like a sirloin steak and then up to a larger cut, like, a chuck roast or a brisket, not cooking the same way, but it kind of occupies that size thing in between those.
Yeah.
You generally wouldn't order a whole tri-tip for yourself at a restaurant, I mean, you could, but you're going to order it. It's going to be multiple servings if you get it. Yeah. Or it's going to be sliced for you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's every time I've ever ordered it. It's always come to me with like 3 or 4 slices of it.
Yeah. Good. I mean, the barbecue joints that I've been to and things, that's usually how they do it when they're serving it with other stuff.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, I don't go out and order steaks and tri-tip and stuff like that anymore because I just feel like mine's better at home.
Yeah.
It just, and I'm not going to pay you $50 for
yeah.
For old.
Well, that's what's, and I understand why people do that. Like there's a couple really good barbecue joints, in my area. And the prices when you see it, like a whole tri-tip is like, $80.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, there are people that will pay that because someone else is cooking it for them. Maybe they've never had it, but they've heard it's great. But I look and I go, I'm going to spend, $15 on a tri-tip maybe $20 and cook it myself, and it's going to be, to me at least, it's going to be as good. Just like you said, you've made it. You know you're going to be able to make it the way you like it.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite protein to cook?
Ooh, I mean,
and then if there is a cut,
well, okay. I love hamburgers. So, if I'm cooking something like that, ground beef is going to be it. But in terms of a cut of a protein, this one will probably not be, it's pork belly.
Okay.
And partly it's so versatile. It's so versatile. The strange thing about it is I can't eat it that much anymore. Pork is like one of those things for me, like getting older. It's like, oh God. It doesn't, like, your system goes, hey man, I was telling you. I'm telling you, you can't do that half rack of ribs anymore. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like you said, about pork, but it's forgiving because there's so much fat. There's so much fat. It's so rich. And that's the same with any of that pork you're usually getting is a lot of rich fat in there. And for me, that just kind of like, it's like, oh God, it's not that again. But beef, a lot more to tolerate. So like I love a good piece of brisket too, or some good burnt ends. Yeah. But if I'm cooking it, pork belly, because there's just something, it's like a guilty pleasure because I know I'm gonna pay for it. But it's worth it. Yeah.
It's like me when I'll make like homemade Alfredo or something, and I'm lactose intolerant, and I'll sit down so excited to start eating, and I'll go, "Oh, I forgot my lactate pill."
Yep.
Oh well, but it's too late now.
It sounds like you and I are twins in that respect. It'll be like, should we get ice cream? Yeah, let's get ice cream. Oh, damn, I forgot the lactate.
Yeah.
Or you go to a restaurant, it's like, I didn't bring one.
Yeah, all the time. So it's like, okay, what am I ordering now? Because I knew what I wanted when I was on my way.
Yeah. I always say I'm not a big cheese eater, but the funny thing is when there's some cheese in certain things that I like, I really want it. Yeah.
What the heck?
So they asked right here. So you like the cheeseburgers? What's your best side for your cheeseburger?
Oh, my favorite side of all time is potato salad. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Nice.
I just love a good potato salad.
Mayo or mustard?
Yeah. Mayo to me is better. I like the mayo one. That's my mom made. And it's funny. When we've gone on vacations and things like that, there's two things we always like to try at different places if they've got it: clam chowder and potato salad.
Oh, I love clam chowder. Ooh.
And so it's like you're always trying to find that really good cup of clam chowder. And so it doesn't matter if you're like there for lunch, dinner, snack, whatever. It's like, cup of clam chowder. Give me that. Yeah. And it's the same thing with potato salad. Just order it, and it's like, oh, that's good. It's satisfying. So with a burger, potato salad, brisket, potato salad, pork, but potato salad. That's the best side to me.
That sounds like my dad. He makes potato salad, and his every time people eat it, they're like, this is the best. I don't eat potato salad. I don't like it.
You know, do it, yeah.
No, but he would have it with everything. He'll make this. He has this huge metal bowl, and he'll make this massive amount of it. And it'll just, I'm having this with potato salad. It's like, all right.
I do that with pasta salad. I will make. I can't make a small thing of pasta salad. Nope. In fact, I make pasta salad videos because I like pasta salad. I don't know how much people like the pasta salad videos, but it's like every once in a while, it's like, I want some pasta salad. I'm going to do a pasta salad video.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Burley wants to know onion rings or tots. Tots for me.
Tots.
Can I have both? I mean, I've gotten into tots more recently, but I love a good onion ring. I really do.
I'm not a huge fan. Never been a huge fan of onion rings my whole life until I started having them like real homemade, actual good onion rings, and there's something to that.
Yeah.
So
it's also when you go places that make them, if they make them good, they're good.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I mean. Like I was at a restaurant down in LA area with my pops, and he ordered the onion rings, and I looked at him like, well, those aren't like regular bagged onion rings. Like, let me try that. And that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Cindy wants to know, how about deep frying briskets?
I'm sure someone's done it. I'm almost positive Guga's done it.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, he might. Yeah.
he's
If
probably
someone's
dry
done it,
aged it. He's probably dry aged it for 6 months, deep fried it in butter, and then
Yeah.
something like that. So,
So
yeah.
I have seen, what was his name? I think it was Smoke Trails Barbecue. On YouTube. He cooked it in tallow.
Yeah.
Like for a long time.
It's almost like confit,
Yeah,
like
that's the word. That's what. Yeah,
brisket
like
confit.
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not quite deep frying, but I guess that's about as close as it gets.
It's kind of like the hybrid between deep frying and sous vide, but you're just not putting it in the bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Adventures of a Home Cook says gravy fries.
I've never been a fan of like gravy on fries. It's like, what's the poutine, in Canada with cheese curds and gravy on fries. And I know people who love it. It's like, nope.
Yeah, so I don't mind like cheese fries with bacon and stuff like that, but I don't like my fries getting soggy in any kind of way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like them to have a little bit of structure still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Comments, I lost my place. They were going crazy. T. Carmack wants to know, do you follow up your cheeseburger meal with the dessert? If so, what kind?
I mean, it depends on how big it's a cheeseburger, like, do you have room for dessert? If we go out and I want to order a cheeseburger or something, we always plan backwards. It's like, all right, is there dessert? Is it good? Like, what are we going to get? And like, okay, are we going to do an appetizer? You're just kind of like playing.
Yeah.
I mean, my go-to desserts are a good cheesecake. If they have a good cheesecake, that's that. Or creme brulee. But the thing is, I've really started liking making creme brulee. I did a video on it because I wanted to learn to do it well. And the creme brulee I make I like it better than the stuff I get. It's just because
I'm gonna have to try and copy that video.
It's because one of the things I found about it, creme brulee is one of those things where it's like, if you watch like professional videos of people making it and who've done it 1,000 times, it's like, you got to look for the jiggle. It's like, what jiggle? How much jiggle? I don't know. But then I found, it was an article or a video, I can't remember, where someone said, the finished temperature should be 174 degrees. It's like, okay, I can deal with temperature.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So all the steps before I got that down, and then you put it in the water bath in there, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna check it here. Okay. A couple more minutes, checked it, took it out. It was, I mean, even the people I made it for said, this is like the best creme brulee I've ever had. So it was, for me, I was able to kind of get that consistency because there was an alternate method that I understood. And I was able to do it. So that worked. 174 degrees. I think that's what the temp was.
Yeah. I will say that that's like one of the things we wanted to start this, just talk to the foodies out there on this show. My buddy was like, I can't cook. And I see all your guys' pages and it just looks so like, what, just look for the jiggle. Like, okay, you didn't.
I don't know what this. How much jiggle? It's kind of like that thing where they say, "Oh, to check doneness." Pretend like you're pressing here. Like that. It's like, I can't do that. If I relied on that, you
gotta touch your fingers.
Yeah,
so it's rare. I did country pork ribs like that last night because I forgot my thermometer. And they came out good. So
I'm not that. I don't have that tactile sort of thing. It's like, and it's like, I always say, like, I'm not good at cooking things where it's like someone looks at it and says, oh, that's done, like shrimp or something. It's like, I need a little bit more data, I guess I say it makes me more comfortable if I know there's a data point I'm looking for.
Sure.
And it's kind of like with brisket now, I get the look thing when it's time to wrap for me. I wrap it. I don't worry so much about internal temperature or stall anymore. It's more like, okay, I've got the color I want. And people will always say, yeah, but it doesn't really have that finished bark color. You're right, it doesn't. It's going to get that after you wrap it and rest it. Or you open that up and it's like, wow, it's got that kind of blackish bark. It's surprising. But it's after you do it long enough and enough times, you understand that and you get more comfortable with, okay, the data point for me in that is I got the color I want now, I'll wrap it.
See, and I think I think the next brisket I do, that's what I'm gonna do, because I've done them on the offset. I haven't done one on my Weber yet,
Yeah.
but I use all the rest of them I've done in my pellet grill just because they take so damn long. It's just
Yeah.
easier,
It's easier.
and yeah, that's strictly it's easier.
Yeah.
And but I've always been a no wrap guy,
Mhm.
and the last one I did was really good, but it's just not right there where I want it yet.
Mhm.
So you do them on the pellet grill, right?
I've done them on the pellet grill. Yeah.
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 Do you still get the same effect?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's heat is heat, you know,
Yes.
and once you wrap something, heat is even more just heat.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Mhm.
prefer to wrap it. I use butcher paper.
Yeah. Same.
And it just finishes. You know, if you're going to do it on the pellet grill, it's going to go for as long as it goes. And I will usually, once I wrap, now put a temperature probe in, just so I
Okay.
know when I'm getting close to that sort of 200, 203, whatever.
So you're not
Because
just constantly poking.
That's
through
right.
it,
no, I'll wait until I get to that, and then it's like I'll probe it a couple, you know, flat and
Yeah.
point. And it's
That's
like,
right.
okay, this is ready. And you know, I will then, depending on what I'm doing, I may take it inside and wrap it. You know, I'll put it in a big foil pan, leave it wrapped, put foil over it, and I'll throw it in the oven with the oven turned off. Or if I'm going to want to hold it longer, I'll turn the oven on to like 180 degrees and let it go for like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and just let it stay there at that temperature. And it invariably, well, look, there are people who hold it for like 12 or 14 hours.
Yeah, that's terrifies me.
You know, but it looks good and it tastes good. I mean, it's strange. But it is really the most surprising thing to me is that when you open it up and that bark is dark, you know,
Mhm.
it just is, and it looks good and it tastes good. But yeah, no, pellet grill. People ask me, you know, when I said about the starter smoker, sort of the electric thing, but so many people know about pellet grills now. It's much more mainstream, and so people will ask, like, "Oh, what should I get?" You know, I like to do this. It's, you know, I don't like a lot of work. It's like pellet grill. You know, you want to pop it in there, turn it on, let it go.
That's right.
You don't want to have to worry about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
Exactly
for
what I tell people. Said,
Yeah.
unless the way I cook is a lifestyle. Like I choose to stand there. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And if you just want to, you know, diddle daddle with it here and there, if you really want charcoal, get yourself a Weber because you can do so much with a kettle.
Or a pit barrel cooker or something like that.
Yeah,
You
or
know, PVC, yeah.
Mhm. Or just get yourself a pellet grill. That's what I tell people all the time because
And it's a good start. You might want to move on to something, but guess what? If you get an offset, then after that, you still got the pellet grill, which, like I said, is a great outdoor oven. We've used the pellet grill for things like, man, it's there in the summer. It's hot. I don't want to turn the oven on inside, but I need to cook something. It's like I'm throwing that pan of lasagna on the pellet grill. Okay.
I've done it.
You know, turn it to 350, put it on the pellet grill. It is going to go and it's going to cook just like it did in the oven. But you can get a little smoke flavor too.
Yeah,
right.
I just did a couple baked ziti's on my pellet grill just because. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
You know,
and at least in California right now, electricity is cheaper than gas.
Yeah.
So if you've got a gas oven, you know, you're using that. You're burning dollars. So.
Mm-hmm. So, and one time I came home just talking about how versatile everything is. One time I came home and I started setting up the Weber because I was on a grill, and my wife goes, "Honey, we already planned on making spaghetti tonight." And I'm like, "Oh." All right. I just got my big cast iron skillet and we made spaghettis. I obviously boiled the noodles inside just to make it easier, but same spaghetti sauce we've been making forever, but that little smoke flavor or whatever was just different. It was just so different and had a
That's why I love doing like meatballs out on the grill. You know, you
never
just
not do meatballs
because they just get that extra little bit of something. You know, they just taste better. I think.
Yeah. I just finished off some of the meatballs that I did just recently. They're so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you vacuum seal stuff?
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I do. I do too, and that's just such a great thing. It's like I think tonight we're doing some pasta or something. It's like with some vacuum sealed leftover sauce. You know, just like we had meat sauce. It's like okay, it's probably about 4 months old, but you know, you vacuum seal it, through it in the freezer, and there it is.
Yeah, exactly. We do that a lot. We'll make like if we make spaghetti sauce, we'll just go ahead and make a huge pot of it.
Yeah.
Stick it in vacuum bags, and then oh crap, what are we gonna do for dinner? Hey, grab a sauce, boil.
Well, it's like that pork belly that I did. I vacuum sealed probably 4 small bags of it, which I'm giving to my son when he visits next. It's like, take this home to you and your buddies.
Yeah, I did the same. I'll cook a bunch of stuff, have leftovers. I'll bring it over to my buddy's house. Like, hey man, got all this extra barbecue if you want it.
Yeah,
and he loves it. So
yeah, man, you make friends.
Yeah, right. What do you cook surströmming on? I don't even touch surströmming anymore. That was a one-time deal, buddy.
What is surströmming?
Oh man, it's these. I think they're Swedish or something. It's herring, and they put it in some brine. They literally guts out, tail, head in the brine, can it, boom. So it is like fermenting, and the body of the fish is decaying in that can. And when you open it, it's there. My buddy got me to do. It was nasty.
My dad's family was from Sweden.
Okay.
And so they were immigrants, and they, his grandfather was born in Sweden. So they immigrated to the U.S. and settled in Minnesota. In fact, my dad didn't speak English until he was 6 years old. They lived in a community which was really Swedish.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so their thing was lutefisk.
Yeah, that's the other big,
Just in lye. That's what they do. Cut up like white fish, put it in barrels in lye. In fact, my mom, we tell stories of my dad's mom making lutefisk in the bathtub of their house because they would just put the fish in there, cover it with lye. It's like no baths for a while. But I remember seeing an Anthony Bourdain episode where he was there and they gave him lutefisk, and he's like, he tasted it. And he's like, I usually try and say something nice.
Yeah.
He said, but it's like, this is just not. And he goes, I understand why they did this, because during the winter they had to preserve food.
Yes.
They had to survive. And so this preserved the food. It didn't taste like anything you'd ever want to put in your mouth, but it sustained you, through long winters. But so that's interesting. Yeah, there's those sort of things that people will, try this.
Yeah, right. It's like all those, like Andrew Zimmerman did all those shows where he would just go find the nastiest looking stuff.
Well, my son did that at the Brazilian barbecue. They would bring different, cuts around. He's like, I want to try the chicken heart. He was like 8 years old. It's like, well, good for you. And so he tried the chicken heart, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to have that again.
It's funny because organs are really good for you. There's really good stuff in there. But some of them, man, they just have like I cannot do liver. I cannot do liver.
My dad loved liver, and my mom would always make liver and onions. I hated it.
Yeah.
So terrible.
I mean, I remember one time when we were a kid, my mom's at school or work or something, and he made, back then I didn't eat rice either.
Right.
And I do not eat beans.
Right.
And he made liver and red beans and rice.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to eat?
Wow. That's like a Cajun torture meal.
Yeah, it was like,
I'm gonna give you some red beans and rice, which is good, but here's some liver with you too.
Yeah, it's like, Dad, come on. And
my dad loved liverwurst, the sauce, spread. He loved that too.
No, man. See, there's certain things that I don't think
should be consumed.
When it changes, like its molecular structure, I'm kind of like,
what is that? There's that. What's that? Head cheese. You ever seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has like the pieces of like
everything,
like jowls and stuff in it. It's like
the whole head.
Yeah, they boil the whole head,
and then they put it in like a gelatin or something like it comes from it.
God.
And I always remember seeing that at the butchers, when we were growing up. And it's like, it doesn't look like cheese, but it was. And what's the other term for organ meat? Is offal or something like that? OFFAL.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got a good sound for it. Awful. I don't like it, but it's interesting the stuff people that did eat. I mean, it was normal.
Yeah.
It was common.
Totally.
Well,
and it's probably back then it was because they didn't waste anything.
No.
But yeah, and now, well, I could just go down to the store and buy a
Right.
tri-tip. Why would I eat that?
Exactly.
Or I could go to McDonald's. Why would I
Yeah.
eat that?
Right.
So
Yeah, there's a
it's
lot less waste.
yeah
'Cause you couldn't.
with progress, there's also like where we lose some things.
Yeah.
It always
Yeah.
happens like that. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
still glad we
when
can.
you don't find those pieces in like the old TV dinners, then you know that was progress. It's like
Right.
we're not leaving the
Right.
jowls and your little apple pie and the foil thing, like I was growing up. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. T. Carmack sometimes use liverwurst as pad taste substitute in my
In your
banh mi's.
Wow. Okay. I love a good
Uh,
banh mi. I've never thought of using like
I don't
pate in it
know.
or anything.
You got to
Yeah.
be careful with T. Carmack. They're out of control.
I did have, the very first time I had pate, I mean, I'd heard of it, but I had a goose liver pate. We were on vacation and my wife she likes that kind of thing or wanted to try it. I was like, all right, I'll try it, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was in a nice little restaurant. They served it on some sort of cracker or something, but then they had, caviar, a caviar thing. And it's like, all right, I'll try that. That was disgusting.
Caviar is disgusting.
I don't know why. I mean, look, I've been a fisherman my whole life. And, when you use salmon eggs and things for that, it's like, that's a better use for those. I mean, I don't know if you get those tiny little things on hooks, but it just was not my thing.
It is so expensive. I think it's just it has to be just like a status thing or something.
I don't know. There are people like things.
Yeah, I guess
I get
eat
that.
Surströmming, so
and they like stuff, and I get that. It's just not my thing. It's like it's just not my thing. Yeah.
Oh boy, T. Carmack wants to know if you know the origin of why TV dinners were started in the first place. I've heard that before, but I cannot remember.
I thought I could be wrong. I thought it came out of what was going on during World War II in terms of the way they were trying to prepare rations or something.
Oh, nope.
I mean,
it could be. Know.
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought I remembered that story of like it was like an offshoot of what were they called? C rations or K rations, things like that. But it was like the civilian thing after it wasn't during World War II, but it was like, hey, we have this process. Let's see if we can do something. Like it could also have been
sounds very logical,
but it also could have just been a way that they were trying to use things that were not going to be used, like leftover offcuts and things that, hey, let's see, can we freeze these things and turn them into something that's a product? Yeah. I'm not sure.
So here's a new one. Our buddy Too Much Welding said my grandpa used to fry catfish eggs.
Wow.
That sounds like it was gross. I don't know about all that.
I like eggs. I just like them big and in a hard white shell.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, here we go. They had 260 tons of turkey on the railways and had to keep the freezers running. They had to keep them moving back and forth across the country, but it cost too much to run them.
So that's why it got to TV dinners, because they had to freeze them in a stationary place.
And it made it easier to ship them in little dinners or something, maybe.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah. Like freezing them and shipping them frozen already as a product versus here we got to get do these.
We got to get all these turkeys over here. Yeah. I can see that. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, sir, I appreciate your time. We usually try and keep it an hour and a half since it's on a Sunday.
Yeah. Well, it was fun, man. I love talking.
Yeah. Always, man. We'll get you back on if we can work it out soon.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for sticking around. Thanks for the comments. Don't forget, Thursday nights here, Friday nights, and next week we'll have another foodie show. Go follow Ryne.
Thank you much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Go find him on YouTube. He's on Instagram, Facebook. Thank you, sir, very, very much.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, everybody.
You guys all have a good night.
You too.
Have a